Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster, and we're here for New Year's, the New Year's special. As you can see, this will be my first Fire Force What If, and it is what if Shinra learned the breath of the sun. So, this is because of, well, obvious reasons. As for background into this, for years, the breath style has been passed down through generations, and after the Great Cataclysm, those who survived in Japan, who are now settled in Asakura, who are known as proto-naturalists, have kept this practice thriving, while also making sure to keep the training methods a secret from the Empire due to the fact that they don't particularly trust them. By using the breath techniques, even without a sword, if a pyrokinetic, like a third gen, uses full concentration breathing, they would be able to enhance their flames to hotter temperatures, turning their flames from the basic color to blue. And if they were able to combine their firepower either from a second gen or a third gen, they would be even more powerful using their their the breath styles along with their powers. So in Asakura, there are a number of non-powered individuals who are actually there to teach how to use the breath styles among them. One of these masters happens to be Shinra's grandfather. His name is Gen. Now, this is just more or less a setup for it. So before the what if officially starts, hit it. Now, we start at the day that Shinra lost his mom and his brother. When the fire started, he instantly smelled it. Like his ancestors from back in the day, his ancestor Tanjiro, both him and his grandfather, as well as his younger brother, have inherited his sense of smell. He ran around trying to figure out what's happening while the flames roared around him. The demon infernal that was there ended up causing the flames to spread faster than what they normally would, as he saw his little brother being held by it. It wasn't too long until a fire soldier grabbed him, pulling him out. When everything was said and done, Shinra's grandfather again came by. Seeing the devastation and the burnt body, he feared the worst for his daughter, as well as his youngest grandchild. As he sees Shinra, he runs over, hugging him, thanking the world that Shinra was spared. Though he caught a whiff of something. It was faint, and Shinra was too much in a panic to realize it. Moreover, Gen's sense was much more refined. He was able to smell that he was still alive and burn up. But due to the smoke from the fire and the rain pouring down on him right now, the trail was already gone. He wouldn't be able to find it. As he looked at the man right next to Shinra, he takes him to the side, trying to talk to him, grabs him by the shirt, asking, "What happened to my grandson?" He, this fire soldier is actually Captain Burns, as he remarks, "It seems your grandfather's son's ignition power ignited and ended up burning the house. You believe that's your other's body, and that your other grandson, so, is gone." He looks at him, stating, "Even try to lie. I already know that Show's alive. Means something's off, right? He's an infant. How could he get so far away without any help? What happened?" Staring him down, he continues, "You plan on blaming this on my grandson Seymour. Something I already know he didn't have anything to do with. You got another thing coming. Now stop jerking me around and tell me what you really saw. I already know Show's still alive. If he wasn't, well then, I wouldn't be smelling a faint trail of his scent. Now would I?" Captain Burns looked surprised by this, asking, "What are you talking about?" He smirked, stating, "There are much stranger things in this world than what you can imagine. Or at least much stranger things that were in this world. But what's left is that some members of my family have a insane sense of smell. And mine is telling me that there's a small trail that has So's scent in it going that way," as he pointed in the direction. "The smoke and rain has destroyed the trail. It's stronger here because this is the house he lived in." As Burns looked at him, marking, "Fine, was some kind of demon infernal." He looked at him, saying, "Demon? What are you talking about?" As Burns states, "It's an infernal with horns on its head, about where the eyes should be. It held your grandson alive, and wouldn't that mean that it took your grandson? Why would an infernal do that?" He just looks at him, stating, "I don't know, but you're gonna either tell the truth, or you're gonna make a story that doesn't blame Senior for something he didn't even do. Understand? Else." Burns sighed and remarked, "Fine. I don't know what's up with you, old man, but I have a feeling I shouldn't really go against you in this." As the official story was changed, it, the official record turned out that an unknown individual ended up turning infernal while he was passing by the area, accidentally causing the house that Senior's family lived in to burn down, with the stress prematurely activating Senior's ignition ability. This was close enough to the truth, yet still far enough to cover up some tracks. So yeah, as for anything else, as some people were trying to take Senior to Hajima Industries, Gen stopped them instantly, taking Senior away, as he states, "You're not laying a hand on him, understand?" Walking away with his grandson, making sure that his feet are elevated in a way that it won't singe his clothes. As he brings him to his uh, home in Asakura. Once they get there, and Shinra's been able to calm down, and tells him what he knows, that there was a demon infernal, and that it most likely took Sho. Shinra looks surprised, yelling, "Sho's alive? Where?" And was regrettably saddened to say that he didn't know. By the time I got there, the scent trail was too weak and already faded away to the point I couldn't follow. As he sighs, "I'm sorry." As Seymour grips his fist, his tiny little fist, he says, "I'm going to get Snow back, no matter what. I swear, and I'll get as strong as I possibly can." Which caused again the smirk, as he stands up, stating, "Very well then. Tomorrow we begin your training." With Shinra somewhat paused by this, asking, "Wait, what training?" Which we see Gen smirking, stating, "Isn't it obvious? I'm going to train you in our family's old technique." As he drops some shoes in front of Shinra, they seem to be made out of some kind of stone, and some as the strap seems to be a some type of fireproof material. Essentially, if you know those wooden sandals with the two stilts on each shoe, yeah, so that's basically what it is, but made out of stone and some kind of fireproof material for the strap in between the toes to help him get around easy with his current predicament, the flaming feet. Afterwards, he begins his training. Over the years training, he's seen Benimaru fight, taking out infernals. And one day, he even witnessed the demon infernal that awoke in Asakura, and how Wakaba took care of him. Though, unlike as in canon, Wakaba actually knows one of the breath styles in order to use it along with his ignition power. He is one of the rare few who knows the style of the breath of the moon, which some I would think matches up with him, considering one of his techniques is Crimson Moon. So yeah, he doesn't get, I believe the term is nephrosis, where his flesh turns to ash. He doesn't get that, but he still ends up with a scar on his face from this, as he goes all out, cutting into the demon's core. After witnessing this, Gen took Shinra into his house to teach him some lessons about the past of the breath styles, remarking that utilizing these ended up with the result of creating what they could call supernatural phenomenons. The result of seeming like elements or even animals in some cases, in terms of the insect breath, serpent breath, and beast breath, which Shinra found pretty cool. But he goes back even further in time before the great uh, cataclysm, stating that even before then, these sword styles were used to deal with demons. This surprised Shinra, asking, wait, but uh, so there were infernals before the Great Cataclysm? Ken shook his head no, stating there weren't. These demons were created by an individual who was once human, becoming corrupt and becoming a demon among demons, capable of using his own blood as a means to turn humans into lesser versions of himself. However, the higher ranking members of these demons he created were known as the upper and lower moons. The lower moons were six, as they were the lower ranks of these 12 demons, as the upper moons, which also counted as six, the higher level one. And sorry, Dean explains that these demon infernals, strength-wise, might come up to either a lower level or a upper level moon in the realm of strength compared to the writings that survived the Great Cataclysm. Shinra gripped his fist, thinking, that's what they show. As he then devotes himself even further into training to get as strong as possible, learning all of the breath techniques of the breath of the sun, which essentially totals to 13 forms, with the 13th one being somewhat special, as well as being taught a ritual that was performed once a year on New Year's. From the time that the sun went down on New Year's Eve to the time that the sun rose on New Year's Day. This was the dance of Hashira, the fire god. He told them that the breath style is somewhat similar to a dance in some aspects, but is still swordsmanship. During the time, this style went under the name breath of went under the name of Dance of the Fire God, as a means of hiding it, due to the fact that if a certain individual, the one who created demons back in the days of old, were to find them, he would exterminate them all out of fear. Afterwards, this became more or less a tradition, as a way of wishing for good luck to stave off illnesses and disasters. Learning the dance himself and the breath technique in order to keep his lungs from freezing, dancing for so long over the entire night, and even while it snows, which wasn't easy to start off with, but became easier over time, as before he was about to go into the fire force, which some individuals questioned about him going out of the Asakura area to be in the fire force, which Benimaru and his granddad questioned him about. He stated this. He states, I can't find Sho here. I need to go out there somewhere so I can find him. Going to save him. And I'll be a hero who saves the people from the threat of the infernals of human combustion. Benimaru just flicks his forehead, stating, "Just remember where you come from. That's my only condition. You can keep that in mind, I'm fine with it." As his grandpa sighs, remarking, "I suppose that's a compromise I can agree to." With him smirking, he goes off, but before he leaves, his grandfather gives him something, stating, "Your training was complete long ago, but I held off so that you could refine it as best as possible. So you have done well, especially in combination in using your third generation ability." As he gives him a bag that's quite long. Opening it, it reveals a sword, a katana to be precise. He draws it, the blade turns from the color of a normal katana into black. As Ging states, but this black blade, the mark of our family. It shows that you hold the breath style of the sun. Black is a color that combines all others into one. As he gives him something else before he leaves. The earrings from Demon Slayer, uh, the Tomoe earrings that's been passed down through his family, stating to take very good care of them since they're a family heirloom ever since long before the Great Cataclysm. Shinra accepts them as he gets them all set up and wears them. He sets off the Fire Force Academy that's run by Company 4. Once getting there are some rumors about Shinra's family being completely burned up by an infernal, and him being the only survivor, due to the change in facts, or at least the change in facts that were released that weren't actually facts in both this one and in canon. So, yeah. Though they also know that he's a proto-nationalist, though his training there as well as his studies do go well, he is extremely persistent. Does catch the eye of Arthur, who recognizes that he has a sword in a bag that he carries around. Walking around, he ends up asking him, does he really know how to use that thing? Shinra tells him that he does, but he isn't going to show him, which annoys Arthur a little bit. So they squabble every now and then, with the third person in the group somewhat butting in every now and then. So we'll leave his name out for right now, given this individual won't be coming to the series for quite some time. As we stretch over to New Year's going around, due to certain instances, traffic is somewhat halted in some areas that would help him get to from the 4th to Asakura. So he's pretty much stuck there. Giving his grandpa a call, there is a week before everything, and he does have something he brought as a memento from home, stating that he's gonna try to do the the tradition that their family does each year here. He doesn't really have a problem with that, but just to be careful. With most people gone, mainly the people left during this time are those who have been orphanized, like Arthur. So he's stuck there. During this time, we also have captains from other companies invited by the fourth in order to have a bit of a New Year's celebration. Though during the week leading up to New Year's Eve, Shinra's been setting up some wooden poles that have a basket for flames to be lit in them. This does catch the captain of the forts, Captain Agu's, attention, asking, "What exactly are you doing?" As Shinra remarks, "Oh, I'm just setting something up. That due to all that chaos, it's somewhat hard to get around. And I mean, so I'm doing something that my family's been doing for years. Each New Year's Eve to New Year's Day." With him asking, "Is that so? What exactly is it?" As he explains somewhat of what it is. A dance that's performed from sundown of New Year's Eve to sunrise of New Year's Day. With Captain Agu being interested in this since it's so cold, remarking, "Are you sure you could handle that?" He states, "Of course, I've learned how to do it, no problem. I won't beat a, even let out a bead of sweat," which is basically a sweat coming from his brow. So he's okay with it. As the New Year's party gets set up for the captains that Captain Agu invited, we only see a couple of them. One, the captain of the second, who happens to be in a company that has more strong connections to the military. Captain of the first, uh, Captain Burns, whose company has a stronger connection to the religious faction. And then we also have Captain of the Fifth, Ibana, who is has connections to Hajime Industries, as well as some lesser known ones, like the one who leads the, I believe, the Sixth Company, who runs the more or less the Special Fire Force Company 6 that also acts as a special hospital for pyrokinetics. As the sun is about to go down, Zero lights the flames and is all dressed with his uh, special wooden stick thing, which does catches Arthur's attention as he bundles up, going over to see what's happening. The sun goes down, it begins. Arthur is just watching this, wondering if he's actually going to make it to sunrise through this cold. As Captain Obi enters, being a little late, he states, "Sorry I'm late. I had some trouble in the matchbox to start up." As he then asks, "So, what's with the kid dancing in the snow, not remotely dressed for it?" As Agu remembered, "Oh yes, I believe Shinra said something about a family tradition of his that's performed every New Year's Eve to New Year's Day. As they look out the window, seeing this, Captain Agu ended up walking out, stating, "I'm going to see about this. It sounds interesting." As he goes, some of the other captains are interested and ask, what exactly is it all about? Before Captain Agu leaves the room where the party is, he tells them that it's a type of dance that's performed once a year in his family as a good luck charm for the New Year's to stave off illness and disaster. And it's performed from sundown to sunrise without stopping. Some of the captains were, well, basically all the captains were interested in this for various reasons. The captain of Company 2 was interested in this since doing it in this cold would take some strong resolve, as Captain Obi would find this pretty interesting and go along with it. Burns would head out as well, thinking that he might as well take a look. As for Companies 5 and 6 as captains, they both go along wondering if this is actually going to end bad, considering doing something like that would end up with them pretty much freezing their lungs and exhausting themselves in blistering cold. Though when they get there, they kind of just see this, seeing how his movements are strange but elegant in a way. Arthur, after watching for a bit, recognizes this. Oddly enough, this dude's intuition is pretty crazy. Especially when something weird happens, it's like he instinctively knows and just reacts on it. So, yeah, as he recognizes that it isn't just a dance, that it's also a form of swordplay. And as someone claiming who continuously calls himself the King of Knights, who is actually quite decent at swordplay with his plasma sword, I would imagine he would definitely recognize this. So, yeah. As for some others, for one, the captain of the second and Captain Obi decide to bet on whether or not he's going to make it through the entire night. With the medical captain of the sixth company finds it interesting that he's not even sweating or in pain with his lungs. Ibana got a little bored and went back to the party to drink, along with Captain Agu and Burns, who decided to do the same and have a little enjoyment, which more or less ended up leaving the people watching as Arthur, Captain Obi, and the second company's captain. Once the sun rose, the final steps were made and the dance was over. As Company 2 just slams money into Obi's hands, stating, "Damn it, I would have thought he would have gotten exhausted before the sun ever rose." This is also considering that during winter, nights tend to be a bit longer than in the summer. So, yeah. But Obi had a hunch that he could make it. As everything was done, he then left, remarking to anybody who was still there at the party that the kid actually made it all the way through. which we see Captain Agu's surprised that someone actually was able to do something like that. Wonder, but knowing that Shinra doesn't have an ignition ability that would help with this. So, yeah. As Captain Obi asks about the kid who did that, he tells him about Shinra, as Captain Obi finds him pretty interesting. When it reads to the other captains, they were pretty surprised once they woke up back at their own company's base and found out that the kid actually not only made it for the entire night, but also made it in through that ended up with Captain Obi winning money off of the uh, second company's captain, which he was not pleased about at all, with the fire going on his bald head like usual. So, yeah. And this was the first year of his academy experience after he was able to finally get home after the road repairs were done due to infernal instances, uh, basically a mass infernal outbreak that damaged a good bit of road that would take him home, since Asakura is somewhat out there in terms of the Empire of Soul. As he left, there was someone that decided to go to Asakura to follow Shinra to ask him something. And of course, it's going to be Arthur. Shows up surprising Shinra, who just meets up with his grandfather and Benimaru, asking that, I take it that's your grandfather? Seeing the old man with a fire-shaped, not scar, but almost like some kind of weird birthmark. So, yeah, as Shinra just remarks, why are you here? With Arthur snapping back into reality, stating, yes, I saw that dance from start to finish, and I can recognize that wasn't merely a dance, it was a form of swordplay. You cannot hide this from the Night King. Betsy remarking, ah, such an idiot. How is he so? With him being just annoyed and confused about how can his instincts be so good while he's such an unbelievable idiot. As Dean is surprised by this, asking what does he know about swordplay. He shows off Excalibur, his plasma sword, with some people in Asakura seeing this, especially one tiny old man who walks up to him taking a look at the sword, as well as checking out Arthur. Hearing the conversation, he senses that he has good intuition as well as not being so bright. So even so he figures out something as he takes his cane, crooks it around the back of Arthur's neck, pulling him down, stating, alright, I'm training you, dragging Arthur away while he's trying to get free from this old man's cane, with Benimaru stating, Old man, old man Kai, what are you doing? And no, this isn't Kai as in the like the God Kai. This is spelled differently. So yeah, with an E, I believe, and not an A. As he looks back, smirking, stating, "Oh, don't worry, this one ain't so bright. And plus, I believe he's trustworthy. Plus, you really expect for me to pass up training someone who can make a sword out of actual plasma using a third gen power? You gotta be, you gotta be kidding me. With Arthur asking, what is he talking about? Hey, hey! Which he begins hammering the lessons into him. Arthur just getting annoyed by this, though is starting to get the hang of the techniques. As his the master teaching him figures out a way to make him gain more power, since the deeper he goes into the role play he has going on, the well, the more powerful he seems to become, which is odd, but whatever. He tells Arthur that it doesn't matter whether you're in armor, riding a horse, or anything else. Tell me, if a Night King is in the bath, he's still the Night King? With Arthur stating, of course, he is always the Night King. But then he swings his cane around, pointing it right in front of Arthur's face, saying, exactly, but no matter where you are or what you're wearing, you are always the Night King. So, make sure you prove it, understand? As he bows, stating, your words are wise, master. With Old Man Kai thinking, he isn't the smartest, but he is strong, as well as easy to find a workaround with that little roleplay power amplification. As after they leave to go back to Company 4 for their training, we see that they both end up continuing their training, where Shinra brings over two giant gourds. For confusing Arthur as he asks, what are those for? He gives one to Arthur, stating, this will be your final test. I was told to give you one and make sure that you make it explode using nothing but your breath. As Arthur looks at him saying, huh? Which Shinra then smirks and does it himself, frickin' blowing it up with the sheer power of his breath, surprising Arthur as he states, I shall not lose to a devil in this. Which he still gets the nickname Devilfoot, since his flaming feet print look like devil footprints. So yeah, though Shinra obviously yells that he's a hero, not a devil. So a bit of a rivalry going on there. As time went on, Arthur and some other that were training there end up using Shinra as a bit of a betting pool on guessing who ate what, which Shinra was always right about, and nobody could hide it. Sometimes it was embarrassing, sometimes it was impressive, and it got to the point where people began gambling their desserts from lunch for this. So, yeah, as time went on, eventually Seymour graduated and was given orders to go to Company 8, filling in his grandpa over the phone. He tells him, hey, Grandpa, I'm going to be apparently going over the Company 8. It's a newer company, and hopefully I could find something that could help. As his grandfather Geen states, you mean find so? I understand that he most likely isn't in Asakura, but do be careful. The reason why he left is because Company 7 doesn't really do much outside their own area, So he had to go out there to find So. As we end this part, being part 0, I do hope you enjoyed and will join us for part 1. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to hit that notification bell, and hope to see you guys later. So, good night.